She thought she could take whatever she wanted, because in her mind, rules never applied to her. Every night, without permission, she snuck into her black neighbor's property, plugging in her Tesla and draining his power as if it were her own. But what began as just electricity soon turned into a battle about respect, dignity, and racial privilege. He stayed quiet at first, hoping it would stop. But when her arrogance grew bolder, he decided to act. And the day her Tesla battery fried, it wasn't just a power surge. It was justice. Marcus had worked hard for everything he owned. After years of saving, he finally bought his dream townhouse in a quiet neighborhood with a shared driveway, and HOA rules meant to keep things fair. To him, it was more than property. It was proof that his dedication had paid off. He kept his place pristine, paid his dues on time, and respected everyone's space. But from the beginning, there was tension. His neighbor, a woman named Claire, someone the community often referred to as the unofficial HOA Karen, had a way of bending rules whenever it suited her. She left her trash bins out too long, parked across lines, and treated Marcus like an outsider, as if he didn't truly belong there. At first, Marcus brushed it off. Microaggressions, cold stares, subtle digs, nothing worth escalating. But one night, as he was heading out early for work, he noticed something strange. An extension cord stretched across his yard. His power outlet, unlocked, unprotected, was running straight into Claire's shiny white Tesla. He froze, shocked, angry, but he told himself it had to be a mistake. Maybe an emergency. Maybe just one time. He unplugged it, coiled the cord neatly, and left it by her steps. No confrontation, no drama. But when it happened again and again, Marcus realized this wasn't an accident. Claire was stealing from him. And worse, she acted as if she had every right to. At first, Marcus tried the polite route. He knocked on her door one evening and calmly explained that the outlet was on his property, that electricity wasn't free, and that she needed to stop. Claire gave a dismissive smile, waved her hand, and said, "It's just a little power. Don't be so dramatic." Her tone cut deeper than the words. It wasn't about money. It was about the way she spoke to him, as though he was beneath her, as though his voice didn't matter. The very next night, the cord was back. This time, she didn't even bother hiding it. Marcus felt that familiar knot in his chest, a mix of frustration and the bitter reminder of how people like Claire often felt entitled to take from people like him. He reported it to the HOA, but instead of action, he got silence. Some even hinted that he should let it go to avoid conflict, but the conflict was already there. Each stolen kilowatt wasn't just power, it was a message. She believed she could trespass, take, and disrespect him without consequence. Marcus started documenting everything. Photos, dates, times, even his electricity bills, showing unexplained spikes. But still no one acted. Claire, meanwhile, bragged to others about how eco-friendly her Tesla was, never mentioning that she was fueling it on someone else's dime. Finally, Marcus reached a breaking point. One evening, after finding the cord plugged in yet again, he decided enough was enough. He had installed a protective surge device on his outlet days earlier, a safeguard he hoped he wouldn't need. But now, watching the cord snake across his yard, he flipped the switch. A sudden jolt traveled through the line. Not dangerous to him, but devastating to the battery of the Tesla that greedily pulled power it had no right to. And when Claire returned the next morning to find her prized car dead, the look on her face wasn't just shock. It was fury. The HOA meeting that week exploded into chaos. Claire stormed in, waving paperwork, accusing Marcus of sabotage. She claimed he had attacked her property and demanded the community punish him. But Marcus didn't flinch. Calmly, he laid out his evidence, every photo, every timestamp, every bill that proved weeks of theft. He showed how many times he tried to resolve it peacefully, how often he was dismissed, ignored, treated as though his words meant nothing. For once, the room was silent. Even those who had brushed off his concerns couldn't deny the truth staring back at them. Claire's arrogance had finally been exposed. She tried to argue, her voice sharp, her words dripping with entitlement. But the more she spoke, the clearer it became. This wasn't about a battery. It was about her belief that she could take without asking, that her wants outweighed his rights. And when the board announced that she would not only be responsible for her own repair costs, but also fined for theft and trespassing, Marcus felt a weight lift. It wasn't just about money, it was about dignity. The look on Claire's face as her own power play backfired was unforgettable. For once, she was in control. Marcus walked away that night not triumphant, but steady. The battery could be replaced. The fines could be paid. But the message was clear. Respect isn't optional. For too long, people like him had been told to stay quiet, to not make waves, to let it go. But letting it go only allowed the cycle to continue. Claire's behavior was just one small example of a much bigger problem. How entitlement and prejudice can disguise themselves as minor issues, when in truth they're constant reminders of inequality. This wasn't just about electricity. It was about being heard, about drawing a line, about demanding the same respect everyone deserves. And for once, the system sided with him, not because it wanted to, but because the evidence left no choice. Marcus knew the fight wasn't over. There would always be more Claires, more dismissals, more battles to prove what should already be obvious, that his rights mattered just as much as anyone else's. But this victory, small as it seemed, carried weight. It was proof that silence wasn't the answer. And maybe, just maybe, someone watching would think twice before dismissing the next Marcus they met. Because in the end, it wasn't about frying a battery. It was about sparking accountability. So the question is, how many more times will people have to fight just to be respected? If stories like this matter to you, don't just watch. Be part of the conversation. Like, comment, and subscribe to help these voices be heard.